Let's look at some inequalities now, solving and graphing. And here we have what's called a compound inequality. The 5x plus 1 has to be between -3 and 10. And there's a few things that we have to deal with here. First, let's take care of the solving. In solving this, I know some of you in the past have tried to solve it within the confines of the original problem. My suggestion is to split it up first. It saves a lot of confusion. So -3 is less than 5x plus 1, and the reason this is an and is when it's between those two, it has to be between -3 and 10. So it's an and problem. So then 5x plus 1 is less than or equal to 10. And now solve these separately. That takes care of a lot of confusion issues, especially if there's negative signs involved. So subtract 1. And so we get -4/5 is less than x, or if you like to write it with the x on the left side better, just remember to flip the sign, so x has to be greater than -4/5. And then on the other side, x is less than or equal to 9/5. Okay, and those two are and. Now when it comes to graphing, we're graphing these things just on a number line. So there's no y equals here. That's why we're not graphing them on a regular sheet of graph paper. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to put the numbers and make sure that, I don't care if you draw 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. The only thing you have to make sure is that the smaller number is to the left of the bigger number. So in this case, we have -4/5 and 9/5. And then the plane greater than, so without the equal sign, that is an open circle. So this one gets an open circle, and the 9/5, because it's less than or equal to, so that little line gives us the equal to option, that gets a closed circle. And that shows us on the graph that we can actually be equal to 9/5, whereas here we know we can get really close to -4/5, but not right there. And then since it's and, I'm going between them, and so the graph will look like this. And then this would be the answer. This would be the numerical answer. This would be the graph. Another type, we're solving an OR problem, and I also threw in an extra issue in this one. So let's go through this. We have 1 minus 2x is greater than 4, or 4x is greater than 5. And for this one, we don't have to split anything up first, obviously, because it's already split up. But the key on this one is that at this step, I'm going to divide by a negative number. So right there, I'm dividing by -2, which means that in an inequality, when you divide by a negative number, you need to flip the sign. So therefore, x is going to be less than -3/2. Okay, that's really important, because if you don't do that, then obviously it's going to mess up the graph, and you'll get the answer wrong. This side, there's nothing fancy going on, just divide both sides by 4. So x is greater than 5/4. And for this class at least, we know that things have either been, the signs have either been both one way or opposite. Well, I should say they're going to be and, so they either end up in the middle or they end up opposite directions. So if you would have left this greater than, you would have found that both of them would have overlapped each other, and that would have looked funny. So you should have known that you would have got something wrong. But in this case, here's my numerical answer. So on the graph, again, make sure that the smaller number is to the left of the bigger number. It's not always the case that the left equation will produce the smaller numbers, so watch out for that. And then Since there's no equals involved, they're open circles on both. And this is less than, so that's going to the left. And this is greater than, so that's going to the right. Um, Basically, you know that all OR problems are going to look like this with the two arrows going out in different directions, and all AND problems will look like um, the graph like we did in the last problem where it's just shaded in between. That's not for every class or every situation, but in this class, that's all you're going to see.